What would you do if the one voice you trusted most was whispering secrets to another man every single night? The smart speaker on our nightstand, a sleek black cylinder I bought for Sarah on our anniversary, had become a silent witness. It sat there, its light pulsing softly in the dark bedroom, recording everything. I discovered it by accident, scrolling through the connected app on my phone late one Tuesday night, trying to figure out why our Wi-Fi was so slow. That's when I saw it. A log of audio files, time-stamped, each one a neat little recording labeled voice command. But they weren't commands, they were conversations. Laughter, whispers. The sound of my wife Sarah giving her heart to someone else while I slept just inches away. I pressed play on the most recent file, my thumb trembling over the screen, and that's when my world shattered into a million pieces. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. It started subtly, as these things always do. We were the perfect Chicago couple, or so I thought. We had a beautiful condo overlooking Millennium Park, a life built on 10 years of shared dreams and inside jokes. I was a financial analyst, working long hours downtown, and Sarah was a rising star at a high-end marketing firm on Michigan Avenue. She was beautiful, sharp, and ambitious, and I adored her. Then, the late nights at the office began. The business dinners that stretched into the early morning hours. When I'd call, she'd sound distracted, the clink of glasses and faint music in the background. "Just schmoozing clients, honey," she'd say, her voice a little too bright. You know how it is? I did know. I also knew her biggest client was a tech startup run by a guy named Mark. He was charismatic, single, and had a reputation. I pushed the thought away, trusted her. Then the little lies started piling up like unread mail. A credit card charge for a dinner at Alinea, a place we'd been saving for our next anniversary, that she claimed was a business expense. A receipt from the Waldorf Astoria I found in her coat pocket when she swore she was at a conference in Rosemont. She became an expert at gaslighting. "Why are you being so insecure?" she'd ask, her eyes cold, whenever I questioned her. "You need to trust me. This pressure is getting to you." She was so convincing, so dismissive, that I started to believe her. Maybe I was the problem. Maybe the stress of my job was making me paranoid. She had this way of making me feel small, like my concerns were childish, pathetic. She and Mark, they felt untouchable, living in a world of inside jokes and secret glances that I was not a part of. The night I found the recordings was the night the man I was died. I sat on the living room floor, my back against the cold leather sofa, listening to hours of them. Her giggling as he told a dirty joke, her soft, vulnerable voice confessing she hadn't felt this alive in years. "He doesn't see me, Mark," she said in one recording. "Not really, just sees the wife he's supposed to have." Each word was a physical blow. I heard them planning a weekend trip to a cabin in Wisconsin. I heard them mocking me, my taste in movies, the way I snored, my predictable nature. I listened until the sun came up over Lake Michigan, the gray light filling our perfect condo. Something inside me snapped. The grief was a tidal wave, but underneath it, something harder and colder began to form. Revenge. Not allowed. Messy explosion, but a quiet, meticulous demolition of the life she had built on my back. From that day on, I became a ghost in my own home. I saved every single audio file to a secure cloud server, backing it up on 3 separate hard drives. I put a keylogger on her laptop and a GPS tracker in her car. It felt disgusting. A violation of the man I used to be, but that man was gone. In his place was a strategist. I played the part of the slightly clueless, overworked husband perfectly. I'd kiss her goodbye in the morning, asking "big day with the team," knowing she was driving straight to Mark's apartment in Lincoln Park. I'd bring her flowers, and she'd smile that vacant, patronizing smile, oblivious to the fact that I knew she'd throw them out the second I left. Every piece of evidence I gathered was a brick in the wall I was building around her. I documented every lie, cross-referencing her calendar with GPS data and credit card statements. It was a full-time job on top of my actual job. My grief turned into fuel. My heartbreak turned into focus. The plan had 2 phases, social and legal. The legal part came first. I hired the most ruthless divorce attorney in Chicago, a a woman known for leaving her opponents with nothing but the clothes on their backs. I walked into her LaSalle Street office with a binder 3 inches thick. When I played her a 30-second clip from the smart speaker recordings, she just smiled. "Mr. Evans," she said, "we're going to financially dismantle her. We used the evidence to prove marital asset dissipation. The secret dinners, the hotel rooms, the lavish gifts she bought from Arquette, all came from our joint accounts." My lawyer drew up the papers, an ironclad petition that would leave Sarah with 0 alimony, half the debt, and none of the assets she felt so entitled to. The trap was set. All I had to do was wait for the right moment to spring it. The social ruin was my masterpiece. Sarah's career was built on her image. She was the polished, successful, happily married woman who had it all. Her company was about to close a massive deal, the one she and Mark had been working on. Her boss, a staunch traditionalist who valued loyalty and family above all else, was hosting a celebratory dinner at a private room in Gibson's Bar and Steakhouse. It was the perfect stage. 2 days before the dinner, I anonymously sent a package to Sarah's boss. Inside was a single USB drive and a note. "Thought you should know who you're really in business with." On the drive were 5 carefully selected audio clips. Nothing explicit, just the most damning emotional confessions. The ones where Sarah mocked the company, mocked her boss, and detailed how she and Mark were planning to leverage the new deal to launch their own competing firm. The night of the dinner, I served her the divorce papers. I didn't hire a process server. I did it myself. I walked into our condo as she was getting ready, looking radiant in a new dress, probably bought with my money. I didn't say a word. I just placed the thick manila envelope on her pristine white vanity. She looked from the envelope to my face, confusion turning to dawning horror. "What is this?" she whispered. "It's your future," I said, my voice devoid of any emotion. She tore it open, her hands shaking as she scanned the first page. The color drained from her face. That's when her phone started ringing. It was her boss. I watched as she answered, her professional voice cracking. I couldn't hear his words, but I saw her face crumble. I saw the confident, arrogant woman I once loved dissolve into a panicked, sobbing mess. He had listened to the recordings. The deal was off. She was fired. So was Mark. In the span of about 10 minutes, her entire world, her career, her reputation, her affair had been incinerated. She tried to fight it, of course. She screamed, she cried, she begged. She accused me of being a monster. "You did this to yourself, Sarah," I replied, the words feeling hollow. It was a slaughter. My lawyer presented a mountain of evidence. The GPS logs, the credit card statements. The audio recordings were the final nail in her coffin. The judge was appalled. Mark was called as a witness and crumbled under cross-examination, a coward stripped of his smug charm. Sarah left that courtroom on Adams Street with nothing. She lost her job, her friends, and every penny she thought she had secured for her new life. I got the condo, the savings, everything. The last time I saw her, she was loading boxes into a U-Haul, her face pale and drawn. She looked right through me, a stranger. There was no flicker of recognition, just empty, bottomless hate. I sold the condo and moved out of Chicago. I couldn't stand the ghosts. Sometimes, late at night in my new, quiet house, I think about that smart speaker, its sleek black cylinder that was supposed to play music and answer questions, but instead became the oracle of my life's greatest betrayal. My victory wasn't triumphant. There were no celebrations, no feeling of satisfaction. It was just quiet. It was the cold, sterile quiet of a surgeon's table after a successful but brutal amputation. I had cut the cancer out of my life, but the phantom limb still aches. The silence she left behind is louder than any of her lies ever were.